And can you believe it? Another Friday is upon us. Man, I don't know about you, but my week just flew. Uh, The second I shut down on Friday with you guys, uh, I was on the road. It was a couple, 40, 50 seconds worth of last minute gather up, and then had to get out on the road for a gig, which was a long Friday night setup with an unbelievable accident on the way that there's almost no way to get around it. So, oops, bouncing on the camera there, sorry. And so we set up till, I don't know, we got home sometime after midnight, and then put away the surplus that we didn't need on Saturday sometime during the day, and get prepped for the event on Saturday night, and then out Saturday night, and again back past midnight. And I got a micro breather on Sunday, except, there's always something to do. I had recordings to do for shows. And so that was Sunday. Monday, in the office, doing a couple of tasks there, a couple of tasks on the way to and from, including dropping some more stuff off from the weekend gig. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, out on the road for the long, lonely 24-hour drive to go pick up the kid from college. So we got in last night from that. Yeah, it was Thursday. No, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Thursday, yesterday, I worked all day normal yesterday, and I had a challenge. I know let's launch right into the story here, huh? I'll finish that. So anyways, hey, good afternoon. It's Friday, and it is drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. I am Dave Rush, and you can ask me just about anything. We get together every Friday, 2:00 Central Time, for a couple hours to talk about all things CompTIA certification and Raspberry Pis, and how to use those Raspberry Pis in pursuing our CompTIA certification. We make servers out of them and other cool learning aids. And so, okay, let's tie back into the project now. So I have had 6 days since the last show, and I usually, try and do some pre-plep or something, pick a project at least on Friday night, Saturday day. Didn't even have time to look at it or research it. So as of last night, 11 o'clock at night, I'm exhausted and ready to go to bed. I said, you know what? I just don't have a project. I have a theory on one that might be really cool, but I don't know how long it's going to take to prep and learn it and then write it up. So my plan today was going to be open Q&A. And then I got up nice and early today and said, well, let's explore that idea. And wow, super cool, super quick, super easy. I got a project for today. And if you looked at the banner, it says how to install Android on a Raspberry Pi. And, everything that I knew about it was a headline that I read earlier this week. I suppose I glanced over the article a little bit, but I didn't read it. So I started reading it in depth today, and then building it out, which isn't a big deal. It's basically download an image and burn it and get it booted up and configure it. In fact, it was so easy and so quick that I did it twice because of reasons that will make more sense as today's show rolls on. So that's where we are. So we get together every Friday. We talk about, oh, wait a minute. So what's the point? Yeah, it's cool. But even more to the point, here's what I love about this. For both 10.0x and 11.0x A+ certifications, there are things that you have to know about Android. But Dave, I don't have an Android device. I don't have an Android tablet. I'm an Apple head. I don't have an Android phone. I'm an Apple head. There's something wrong with me. I'm an Apple head. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? If you're watching Dave's show, you have or are getting for $35 a Raspberry Pi. You install this thing on it. It's free. And everything that you need to know and learn and practice, you don't really need to practice much. You can just study. There's not that much Android stuff, but everything that you'd have to do for Android, good golly, Miss Molly, it's right here. So you could just install Android on here and do everything that you need to study for the 11.0x A+ or the 10.0x A+. And I think that that's just magical. And as I've been playing with this more and more, I'm writing my script and writing my notes and my outlines and making stuff for you guys to download. at pirsquare.zapto.org. I get done with it. I save the documents. It's all downloadable and ready to rock. And oh, wait a minute, it's got this. And I play with that for a while. And oh, wait a minute, it's got this. And I've added a whole bunch of stuff to my own notes. You'll find it. You'll figure it out. So I haven't updated the documents. It's 97.75% complete. And anything that is missing, you'll see on the show today. So very exciting show. I went from the depths of depression last night, I don't have a show ready, to wow, I love today's show. Today's project. Oh, let's see. A couple of people have checked in. We'll say hi and then we'll go check some notes. What are we at here? We don't have a big turnout yet today. It's been thin for the last couple of weeks for both Mike and I. Everybody's kind of getting into summer and getting their getaways. That kind of happens every summer. We can do that for the 10 of you. Who knows? Maybe I'll just give away 10 giveaways. No, I'm not authorized to do that, but it would be cool. But there will certainly be some kind of giveaway today, and it'll be fun. Messages all over. All right, so who's coming up here? Tolowit pops in at 1:35. I had to, for my project at work, my real on the plate loaded up project, had a problem this week, a problem that I didn't know about, but I submit my work for review. Nobody submits work and it happens. It has to go through at least one set of eyes to review. And it might be editing, it might be tech content, could be anything, but whatever it is. So I submit my stuff and it's been sitting in the bins to be reviewed for quite some time now, a couple of weeks. And somebody finally got around to it and said, oh my gosh, this is horrible, terrible, awful, terrible, horrible, awful. And they sent me a copy and it's like, wow, it's weird because when I checked that aspect of it here, it was a very bad audio thing with a lot of background noise in it. It sure didn't sound like that here. And I looked for my original recordings and it sounded just great. So something happened in translation. So we put the big stop on it and I had to rebuild my studio. So spent yesterday afternoon and evening rebuilding the whole audio setup and system, and man, fought like crazy to get something functional. And there was weird problems. And so finally I said, all right, well, let's try some other equipment. Is it the microphone? Is it the cables? Is it the mixer? Is it the USB audio interface? And so piece by piece, I'm changing this stuff out and I get the same problems. And so finally I said, well, the only thing left to change out besides the computer is the USB audio interface. And so I unplugged the one I was using and I took the one that I use here on my desk to do this every day. I do things other than hang out with you and use this equipment, and took it over there and thrilled to discover that it had exactly the same problem. So it wasn't an equipment failure. We did find the problem ultimately and did some sample recordings and sent them in for review to see if everybody's still happy. But then, of course, I had made lots of changes to this system here. So I brought it in last night and fiddled with it to the best of my ability. And I went on Discord to see if anybody was around to do a little audio video shooting the breeze with me so I could make sure that everything was working normally. And so Tolowit was in last night, and so was Jason, who can't be on today. He's got to work. But if there's any issues here, if you know anything majorly different as far as audio goes and from where I'm at in the past, do let me know. I know that was a long story for something simple, but that's my life. It's complicated. I make it dramatic. Okay, so Tolowit got in at 1:35, my time, 1:52. Andre de Goyerton. Hi, buddy. Good to see you, sir. Okay, thank you, Andrew, in the back channel. And Kingwell is here. It's probably German. It's probably Kingwell. Nah, you're well. What kind of name starts with well? Wilson, Wells, whatever. At any rate, welcome. Oh, I like that. It stands for welcome. What do I want to do here? I want to get rid of that. That's in the way. That's in the way. Okay, we'll just leave it with that. Mohammed El Abayad, my friend, is here. Salam. Andre, I made the mistake to reboot for installing Windows updates just before the show started. You're always rebooting. I do mine. I try to do mine the night before or the day before. Big update. Had to watch the start of the show on the phone. Well, thanks for watching the start of the show on your phone. I appreciate that. I never update Windows. That's why I still run XP. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, are you sure you're not Will Shaw? Andre talking to Tollywood and Tollywood talking back to Andre. Only half of these viewers hit the like button. If I knew where you live, I'd come over to your house and click the like button for you. Appreciate it. You know, it's happening. It doesn't happen. There are things that I push, and I've decided just to not push that anymore. We've got a 2-year track record, Mike and I. People find our stuff. So the more likes, the easier it is to help people find our stuff. But if not, you know, we've got Mike's got over 100 and 15, 20, maybe more episodes in his playlist on YouTube. I've got, I think today is 92 or something like that. And we are just a couple months away from our 2-year anniversary show. I'm going to go into the office on Monday and talk to the powers that be and see if I can work up probably the same shindig that we did for Mike's 2-year anniversary, just a day full of really cool giveaways. Chris Kent, sorry I'm late. It's okay. I haven't started to take attendance yet, Chris. So as far as I'm concerned, you were here from the beginning. Andre goes ping, which means you might be Will Shaw. That's right. You could have commandeered your name. Will Jeske is here. Thanks for liking. Appreciate. We like you too. Actually, we do. All right. Well, that's caught up on questions. Let me go see what's in notes today. We can shrink that out of there. Sorry, got a mess of things here on all the stuff. Oh man, that is so exciting. I'm just looking at this at the stills of the project that I'm going to share with you today, and I found a way to go beyond sharing stills. I'm just excited about this. I was very excited about last week's show, which was a very short, simple little project. But if you didn't do that, if you haven't played around with what was it called, Linux Reader? Wow, check that show out. It's a really short presentation, starts about the beginning of the second hour. Only took about 15-20 minutes, and you can do it in much less time. You should be able to do it in 4 or 5 minutes. But man, that is just such a good tool that has already so ingrained into my toolkit. All right, hey, well, so let's do business here. So I've missed out from the very beginning. It is Friday. It's Drama or Pi Day Friday. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, and we get together once a week to talk about Raspberry Pis and CompTIA certifications and how the two might go together. Today is a special Friday. It is Friday, May 13th. Easy for me to say. Yeah, it's Friday the 13th. I don't know about you, but I am not having a bad luck day. It's going so well. I hope none of you suffers from triskaidekaphobia, the fear of the number 13. Did that. I am, as ever and always, joined in the back channel by my partner in Pi, Andrew Hutz. He's a writer at Total Seminars, works the back channel. He researches your questions, posts answers, makes me look good. Thanks, man. That's a hard job. I wouldn't ask anybody to do that. He posts links and he posts answers. So by all means, check in with him as well as me. Just do an @Andrew and you'll find him. Every time I try to send a message to him or Andre de Goyert, YouTube does it always picks the wrong person I'm trying to talk to. He moderates here, so he keeps the Russian trollers off using his official YouTube banhammer, Trollnir. So there's a new, or recently a new, who wields Trollnir? The guy. Somebody will put that in there. Thor, thank you. So did a new Thor just come out, or is there one coming out? And of course, Doctor Strange came out a couple of days ago. That's on our list for this weekend. I am not working. Thank you, Tolowit. I am not working this weekend for Total Seminars. I say that and it's always such a lie. There's always so much to do and so much I've got to do, but I will take a break from that and go to the movies. Uh, Brought the kid home from school. Of course, he's 22 and he has no interest in hanging out with parents. I haven't seen him pretty much since I brought his stuff in the door, other than what do we got to eat? And I'm going to see my girlfriends. Everything is normal. Yes, Doctor Strange. Hi, Carla. In addition to being brilliant in his own right as an editor and a writer and very knowledgeable in computer things, Andrew is a fascinating guy. Always has something going on. Man, I hope I didn't repeat these from last week, but if I did, somebody might have missed them. All 8 of you that are here currently right now. He's applied to be a contestant on either American Idol or America's Top Model. He makes his own burlap cloth. So he's something. Anyway, great source of info, of a wide range of information. Focuses a lot on red team, blue team, pen testing, security, hackage. Great guy if you're looking for, and of course he's very knowledgeable in all the other trifecta arenas that we play around with. Yeah, so this is episode number 92 in Weekly Dramas. And again, we got second anniversary show coming up. Our first show was on July 31st of 2020. But that doesn't fall on a Friday this year, so we're going to do our second anniversary show, whatever it's going to be, on July 29th. And if you have ideas, again, my guess is it's a giveaway show for 2 hours, but we did Mike's show with the same number of giveaways that I'm hoping to pull off, and we did it in an hour, so we'll have to do something else. So if you've got ideas, anything you want to talk about, think about, discuss for the anniversary show, in addition to cool prizes, hopefully, send me a note. You can do that in all kinds of ways. Take, for instance, this handy dandy little method. The easiest way, of course, is to post something live right here in the YouTube chat channel. But if that's not possible for you, you can contact me by email at my company address. I am Dave Rush, and therefore I am Dave R in my email address. I work for Total Seminars, and our website is totalsem.com. You can catch me therefore at daveR@totalsem.com. You can also send something to my personal email if you so choose. I am drushtx@yahoo.com, my public face. Yeah, I got private ones that only the missus knows and all that, but that one I just it's getting like Mike's. There's a couple hundred in there every day. A lot of spam, fortunately. You can catch me on LinkedIn if I'm on Steam. I haven't been of late, but I'm hoping 10 days I'll be able to get enough of a break. On Steam, I'm Blood Rush TX. Likewise, you can communicate with Andrew. He's Andrew Hutz, so Andrew H. Also at Total Sem, and on Steam, The Green Abyss. There's other contact information here for Total if you are so inclined. And while I'm at this, Andrew's going to throw up some links in the chat channel, the same stuff that I'm going to be talking about here, just because you are kind enough to join us every Friday, and Mike on his Monday and Wednesday show. We have special deals only available to you. And the deal hasn't changed for a while. We are talking to salespeople and they have some ideas, but for the moment, you can create your own bundle for any CompTIA area of study or AWS that's in this list. So if you're studying A+ or Net+ or Sec+ or CYSA, whatever, you can go to totalsem.com, go to our merchant area, and create a bundle with 2 items. The associated ebook, let's say you want for A+, so you want the A+ ebook and the A+ total tester, the practice test online. Put those in your basket, and when you check out, you get 50% off if you use the discount code this week, Enigma, ENIGMA. Monday of this week, they broke the Enigma code over at Bletchley Hall or Bletchley Park. That was Park. And that code is good for 2 more days. On Monday, we got a new code. Mike will announce it on his show. I picked it last night. I'm sending it to the powers that be tonight. What was it? It was cool, but I already forgot what it is. I was busy last night. All right, so please help yourself to a really good discount. And if you just can't get enough of this kind of stuff, well, we can't stay on 24 hours a day. It'd be interesting, but won't happen. But we hang out, and lots and lots and lots of other people hang out at the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. This is a permanent link that will get you into the Discord channel where I'm logged in 24 hours a day. You want to talk to me, you just ping me at Dave Raw or David Rush, whatever I am over there. And I will see that message if I'm not sleeping, because I'm usually parked here if I'm not doing anything more important. And I will respond to you, or I'll get to you sooner or later. And there are over 350 inhabitants of that server now, with all kinds of sub pages from Kali Linux to Raspberry Pi to I need help with my computer to I offer help for people's computers, and security concepts and the WoW subserver. It's just, man, what a great place to hang out. I will not be able to hang out tonight. I am just charging after the show once again to take care of not business. The whole family is in town and I want to hang out with the family tonight. And so I shall, but do encourage you to join up over there. I can't see what this is. I'm terrified to click it. Oh, okay, I know what that is. We can do that. And then, okay, so one last announcement here for the moment. As everybody here live knows, that at least from all the voices and faces that I've seen, I maintain a web server. And on that web server is all of the documents that I create every week to do this show. This week, I got pictures, PDFs, as always, my outline and notes and things like that. So if you want to follow along what I do in real time, and you'll know exactly what I'm going to say, and read it right before I do. But more accurately, if you're not watching this live and you don't want to follow along in real time, I'll take 20 minutes to do the project, or 25 today. You could read it all in 4 minutes and do it in about that same amount of time. So just download those documents and use them. But a ton of fun. You'll find me at pyrsquare.zapto.org. It's not HTTPS. Some browsers automatically add an S. And if yours does that, that won't get to my server. I turn it on every Friday morning. I turn it off every Sunday night. I'm just not willing and feeling comfortable enough to leave it exposed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not because I would care if you wreck it. I have a nice full backup of that and can restore it in a few minutes. But it's not a secure server insofar as if you could connect to it, you'd be in my network, and then you'd be able to use the utilities there to get to the other resources in my home. I don't have anything that I would want anybody not to see, I don't think, but there's always damage and there's always the rebuild of whatever somebody would choose to destroy. You get the idea. So. All right, that's all that nonsense. More to come later. Man, I got some cool stuff on that page. So get in touch with me anyway. It makes you happy to talk about what you want to do on my anniversary show, and any other thing you want to talk about, something specific. Raspberry Pi. I get suggestions from Tulowit all the time. I have many of them in my list. We've done many of them. We'll continue to do that. Hey Dave, I saw something really cool on this site. Here's the link. Can we do that on the show? Yeah. Tulowit offered one a little while back, a couple weeks ago, that I'm going to do. It's how to solder. Yeah, got to solder something every now and again. Did it. So we do get here once a week, every Friday for 2 hours. Mike's show is on this same channel every week, same time, 2:00 Central Time. He does about an hour show. If you didn't watch the the Wednesday show 2 days ago from Mike, he did a presentation on reverse lookup zones, part of DNS. You got to know this stuff for Net Plus and for Security Plus. And he went into much greater detail than you will ever need to know for those exams. But wow, educational stuff. I'm a fairly good DNS guy. I watched it again last night after I got done, and he taught me some things. And we always do that. We teach each other all kinds of stuff. Just reading my notes. I am Dave Rush. Ask me anything. It's drama. Okay. I think we got a long past that one. And this isn't Ask Me Anything. So until we're doing stuff, if there's questions, I stop and answer questions at length. But if I don't have questions, then you're stuck with me reading and pontificating on my own notes here. Nobody wants that, right? I don't. Okay, we did the AMA presentation. We did contact information. And the code this week is Enigma till Sunday night. So every week I tell you a little bit about the project. I've given you the title, I've given you the concept. We're going to install Android on a Raspberry Pi. Got some nice background on that. And then our projects are wide ranging. Sometimes our project can be done on any Linux distro and sometimes not. So this week, we're not even doing this on a Linux distro, okay? This is an operating system that's designed to run on a Raspberry Pi. So do I need a Raspberry Pi to do today's project? Yes, you do, for reasons that I will explain in greater depth as we go on. Where have we been? Last week, we introduced a program called Linux Reader. What can you do with Linux Reader? If you missed last week's show, goodness gracious, go and watch it. It's a program that runs on Windows. Windows, you say, what's the point? With that, I can take a disk that has Linux partitions on it, ext3s, ext4s, and so forth, and connect it to my Windows computer with a USB external or maybe even a SATA internal, whatever you got. And then you run this program and it says, cool, I can see everything there. You can copy stuff off of there. I didn't try to copy stuff onto there, but it used to be such a challenge to teach Windows how to talk to Linux partitions, because we had to get into the core drivers and add support for a whole new file system. This is an application that runs on top of Windows. You install it in 14 seconds flat and you run it. And so this is great for, oh man, I've crashed my Linux disk. It won't boot. I don't have another Linux machine. I don't want to rebuild one just so I can attach this externally. Take that thing, run Linux Reader, and you can get the broken file or get any files that you need to be preserved off of there. You may be able to do fixes if you've got corrupt files that can be copy replaced. But just what an awesome tool to be able to pull files off of a Linux disk without teaching Microsoft how to speak Linux file systems and without needing another Linux file system. That's weird. My Windows machine just wonked and I have the Discord servers, both of them, you guys, muted. So I know it's not that. Don't know what it is. Don't care. So that was last week. We introduced and played with Linux Reader. Really simple, really easy. Go check it out if you haven't already. Begins at the beginning, about the second hour here. So today we're going to install Android on Raspberry Pi 4. There's no tutorial for this. I read about it. I learned about it, and it's really, really easy to figure out. So I'll just, give them instructions. My tutorial will be my tutorial. So I don't have a link for you to go look up, and Andrew doesn't have to post anything. We'll get to that in a little while. And again, if it all goes too fast, you can play my thing slower, play it at one half speed, but easiest thing to do is just go to pirsquare.zapto.org and download today's download documents, and it's all there. All right, let's go back to questiones, if any have occurred. Reading messages. Andrew says, did I miss something here? Tell me, what are you woohooing about? Because, as soon as something leaves my mouth, it has also left my brain. I can't go back and recall conversations and statements that I've made. As I understand, okay, I see. Okay, all right. So this is part of a conversation here. So starting at 221, Andre de Goyert is talking presumably to Toloet. As I understand it, they didn't really crack the code, but figured out how the Enigma machine they captured worked. That's right. Yeah. Okay, you win. You are dead on. I slurred over the whole thing. Next week, we'll do a class on Enigma and get it all right and perfect. No, you're exactly right, Andre. They captured more than one. Did a lot of, not a lot. I did some research on it while I was picking the discount code for this week. Oh, let's go do a little refreshing on Enigma, and what a lot of fun. Andrew Hutz, Dave needs either a different color text or another background. Okay. So let's talk about shirts. I went up on Tuesday to get the kid on a normal drive about 9 hours away. But 6 weeks ago, I did a Craigslist deal with a guy in Dallas, which is kind of on the way, for 20 Hawaiian shirts. All too big for me now, I'm happy to say. Some of the large is a little tight, but I'm shrinking. And so I brought them home, checked them all out. One of them immediately in the Goodwill pile. No human on earth will ever wear that, at least not in this household. And most of them are normal Hawaiians, but there are two that are solid. You can't see it in the light here, but there's embroidered pineapples and all kinds of goodies like that on here. So we're going to put this into the rotation, and the other 18, 19, whatever it is. So I have enough Hawaiian shirts now to, if I do a weekly show, wear a shirt 3 times every 2 years. Laundry? Nah, every couple of years I'll do laundry. But so next week we'll into a whole new thing. I'll start I guess I will figure out the sorting on them, because we got to mix some of the old with the new, right? There's some really pretty Hawaiians in there. You know what's going to happen. Dave, thanks for your service. We don't need you anymore. So drama goes away, and I'll have all these Hawaiian shirts with which I can do nothing. Andrew says, I just spent 20 minutes examining a reverse shell script before realizing that I left the command as command exec when it should have been bin bash. Yeah, that happens. And the deeper we get into stuff, we get a little more complacent and miss some of the obvious sometimes. Well, that's the problem, Andrew Hutz. If you get into PowerShell, there are CMD commands and there are bash commands, and they both work. And some of them don't work. If they're like switches on the dir command that work natively in the CMD environment, but in PowerShell, they don't. And really bugs me sometimes. Sometimes I got to drop back and do CMD. That's okay if it was meant for something else. Yeah, I always do an LS in the YouTube chat just to see who's here. It must be me. Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Hi, it must be me at 2:27. Is it 2:27 already? Have I been yakking and yammering all this time? That's right. We're actually through most of our stuff anyways before we get on projects and giveaways. Accidentally sent IPA grep. Oh, ton zero. Okay. To Michael Smyer the other day. I didn't hear about that. And Michael and I have been deep in conversations for the last 2 days. Nathan English is among us. Nathan English. I have to look something up. I think your name is on my list of people that I need to communicate with. No, you're not. You're clean. Okay. There is somebody who won, not this most recent one day, but the Monday previous, YouTube named Brennan with 4 N's, 2 N's and 2 N's. And he has not yet contacted me for his winnings. And I'm going to pull him off my list if I don't hear from him by end of business today. I think he's probably under the impression that, okay, I won, that was my YouTube name, they'll send me stuff. No, you got to contact me. You know the drill. And have not yet oyed from him. Okay, the soldering class. There we go. Reading messages. Okay, Nathan. So I accidentally just set up my Raspberry Pi. I managed to buy CanaKit without a markup price. Outstanding. Hey, way to go. You got a Raspberry Pi up and running. So if you want to do today's project, you're going to have to get another micro SD card or flash over that one with today's project and then reflash back. It's no big deal. I think you ought to. But today is just a fun project. Chris Kent, still got to send you that email on hard drive repair. Just had a lot going. That's okay. I'm patient. We want Hawaiian shirts too. Watch Craigslist. This Craigslist deal was really cool. I wrote him and said, hey, I love your price. Not going to argue with you or counter or anything like that. But we are 250 miles apart. What are the chances? I don't want you to send them. Would you hold them until I come driving through there on the way? And there was long pauses in our communication, I think, while he was thinking about it. But in the end, I guess nobody must have bit on it. So he said, yeah, what the heck? So, and we checked in with each other every week or so. Just still good? Yep, still good. And then finally, the deal went down on Tuesday. Tullawit amazingly has plenty of Hawaiian shirts. That was my disappointment in this pile. Lots of really pretty shirts, and most of them good brand names. Not a one of them was silk. A couple of rayons in there, a couple of polys, but most were like heavier cottons and rayons, which I suppose will be great for the winter shows. All right, that catches up on questions. Back to my notes. Interesting news, tricks, and techniques of the week. I mentioned this last week, but I'm just still kind of hyping it. I got the green light to create a Linux course, and I will start on it the day after I complete my big on-plate project. My plan was to complete that Sunday night this week or Monday if things got delayed. And then because of this snafu, I may have to go redo some of the other ones, and I've stopped all production on it. We were going to start shooting last night and do 5 days, but all day yesterday there was the hullabaloo, and then the day before that says we got problems with audio, so everything stops. I've submitted my new attempts. They are being reviewed by committee as we speak here, and they're going to tell me if the new ones are acceptable and which of the ones that I sent in are more acceptable than the others, because I use some different mics and some other stuff. And then we got to figure out which ones have to get reshot, if any. And so I'll do all those, and then I can do 5 a day with these, and there's 25 left, except now reshoots. And if you ever get Total Seminars, Total Sims, you'll see and hear all of them. As far as I know, I will be the narrator of all of them, and the operator will be my missus. Okay. I watched the movie last night. I have a site that I check regularly that posts recent movies that are available online. And so I ran across this title, I don't know, week, 10 days ago, something like that, Operation Mincemeat. And the cover of the, I want to say DVD, but whatever, the cover of advertisement had some obvious World War II British officers in uniform. And so I read the synopsis and said, oh my gosh, I've got to see this. Is this real? And I looked into it, and it's real. What a wonderful World War II war movie. And I will not spoiler it for you. Some of you probably already know it's real history, and I didn't. And I like to think I'm fairly knowledgeable on World War II history, but obviously not. But really, really, really enjoyable movie. Operation Mincemeat. Do check that out. Okay. Don't need to read all that junk. Or that junk, or that junk. There was no old unanswered questions. Don't need that junk. Okay, we are ready for the giveaway contest. Let me check any other new questions. And if nothing new has popped up that I need to talk about, then we will get straight into contest. We're 20 minutes away from project. We'll probably get to it a little earlier. The project doesn't take long. Sorry, I'm reading ahead a little bit. I caught that. I'll come back to that. Andre, I downloaded today's notes and am downloading the software as we speak. Okay, so Andre is about to find out perhaps what I encountered yesterday. The software that you need to do this installation is a zipped up image file, and you have to get it from a mirror site. So I picked the mirror site that was closest to me, and it's, it's not a big file. It's a 2.3 gigs, something like that, 3.2 gigs, whatever it is. Something like that should download in 2-3 minutes with it if you have a decent connection. But the mirror site was just awful. And out of 2 point whatever gigs it is, 13.9 megabytes downloaded, and then it stopped. Well, I'm patient. It's nighttime. I can fight with it in the morning. And eventually, 6, 7, 8 minutes later, it started again. And then it started and stopped and started and stopped for long periods of stop. And the whole thing in the end, I think, took 23 minutes. Uh, that's just a long time in 2023 to pull down 3 gigs of stuff. But once it's down, everything happens pretty quickly. But that's why we weren't doing this in real time today. I could have, would have, should have done the whole project in real time. The burn takes 2 minutes to burn it to the CD-ROM, micro SD. I've gone back in time. It's that Alzheimer's kicking in. I remember when we used to feed the chickens out back and have CD-ROMs. In his best Obi-Wan voice. I hope you're talking about the Alec Guinness voice, because the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan, his voice is just not distinctive. Anyway, Elbow is here. Long time no see, my friend. Good to see you back. Welcome to the fold. Sound more like Darth Vader. Yeah. Andre knows you've been missing too. Operation Mincemeat sounds like the invasion in the East. They're making mincemeat out of the invaders. You're not horribly far off. 2.9 megabits per second. Man, at least it's a measurable thing. When mine just stopped, it was, ooh. But you, of course, will use a European mirror. Maybe it's a little better. Elbow, been busy, doing good. I've been doing good. Super, super busy, which is why I haven't been around. That's okay. Busy is good. All right. Well, it's 2:41 my time, and that sounds like a lovely time for a giveaway. We're going to hold a contest for free access to 90 days worth of the Total Tester online practice test of your choice. We have lots of them. Certainly the trifecta stuff, a lot of other CompTIA stuff. We host many of the practice tests that are written for other books that our publishing partner, McGraw-Hill, does. So maybe we didn't write a Linux Plus book, but they had another author do that. And sometimes they even do that under the Total Seminars Mike Myers aegis. And then they have to write practice test questions for them. That would mean they got to have a website and a practice test engine. No, what happens is McGraw-Hill says, you need test questions. Here's how many we're going to need from you. And here's the rules on how to write them and make ABCD choices and multiple guess and multiple choice, different answer. And they write all the questions and then they send them to us. We reformat them to fit into our Total Tester online engine, and then they become a saleable product. So we're basically kind of a sell through. We don't make much off of that. McGraw gets the money and the people who write the questions get the money, but you get the idea. So we have lots and lots and lots of questions out there, question pools on topics that aren't just CompTIA, and within CompTIA, they are not just the trifecta. So we're going to do this as we always do. It's going to be a random numbered guess. You'll get 3 guesses. Closest to within 3 guesses. Please do not guess more than 3 times. Too hard to dig through all that stuff. Closest to without going over in 3 guesses will be today's winner. You'll go over to totalsem.com, take a look at the total testers, pick the one you want, follow the instructions that Andrew at that time will post in the YouTube thing. You got to send me 4 pieces of information or I can't submit it. I'm just going to send you back a message back that says incomplete. Please resubmit with the 4 required pieces of information. And I would like that today, please. If you win, get that to me today. I can get that to the appropriate people before end of business in an ideal world. And they'll take care of it over the weekend or first thing Monday when they get in the office. That's their usual modus operandi. When I send back your acknowledgement of receipt of stuff, I tell you that they're going to get back to you in the next week or 2. But the person who handles this, it's usually like job number 3 when they get in the office on Monday morning. I get a message typically around 10 o'clock on Mondays. All done. Okay, wow. But someday they will take a vacation again, or otherwise be ill or something, and then it'll have to get delayed. So I cover my basis a little bit. All right, so you get the idea. I'm going to give you a range of numbers. You're going to select at random a number within that range and post it. You can have 3 posts, but not 3 different guesses on the same line. Okay, so give me a post that says 1, and then later a post that says 100, and later a post that says 200, or whatever's in the range. And if one of those numbers is closest to without going over, you will win today. How many people we got hanging out here? Is this worth doing this contest right now, or should I just pick a random name from? See, that doesn't update. I've changed my screen a little bit so I can improve. Oh, a lot of things. Let's go with that. I see a message for me on Discord, but I'm not going to go read it. I got bigger fish to fry. Well, I don't know how many people are here, and I don't care. I'm going to do this anywho, anyway. Andrew, you have the winning number on posted on the back channel. You can prep the winner text on how to collect. I will post or select the how to collect your winnings over here. TTO winner. There we go. That's the page for that. Let me bring up my 2 documents so I can post winner names in the appropriate place when that happens. That's a good way to do that right there. And back to the chat channel so I can watch posters. All right. Have I dragged that out enough? Here we go. Today's range. Thank you, Andre. Andre, I do not want you hanging around with Tullowit anymore. He, one of 2 things happens. He either has such a strong personality that he rubs it off on you, or you are just an absorbent personality and you just absorb him. I don't know. I haven't won the set the. All right, here's the range for anybody who wants to play. 3 guesses, closest to without going over win. The range is the same as last week. 1 through 1,000 inclusive. We'll give you about a minute or so to post guesses. And we know that Andre has his 3 guesses. By the way, if you want anything before, you can win again. And there's so few people here, your chances are good. If you won more than twice, when you put your guess, put the word pass, please. It doesn't mean you'll have to pass. But if I find somebody who's pretty close and doesn't have as many words as you did, yeah, it should be 10,000, Andrew. Because otherwise the winning number. Wait a minute. I said 1 to 1,000. It's 1 to 10,000. 1 to 10,000. Andrew says I said 1 to 1,000. Sorry about that. 1 through 10,000 inclusive. So you can do higher numbers. If you did one way too low because you thought I said 1,000, you get a 4th guess. All right, I know what the number is, so let's go look and see who is getting close. There is the closest so far. Chris Kent is working the high end. Ooh, wow, that was close, but over. Well, if you were under by as much as you were over, you would almost surely win today. Whatever person I'm doing here. Yeah, Chris Kent, 3 guesses, my friend. Just 3. Can't keep throwing up dozens of entries here. I'm going to work from your first 3, and that's it. Stop it, Chris. Don't make me ask Andrew to use Trollnir. Yeah, you're right. All right, I have. Is that it? We've only got about 5 players here so far. Now I have to go look and see if we've only got 5 watchers over here. How many watchers? We only have a dozen current viewers. Your odds are good here. All right, about 20, 30 more seconds here. There's some more numbers coming in. They're all Chris's. Yeah, you got carried away. Oh, that's good tea. You enhance each other, huh? Iron sharpens iron. All right. TD Washington is not playing. You are allowed to play. There are so few people here, TD. Give me a couple of guesses. I got to win. Ooh. Did my world just change? Did my world just change? Did a new guest possibly displace the old one? Yes. Good golly. I got a new front runner. All right, we're going to close it off here. Andrew, throw up what you got on the back channel. I will see if that's a match. I'm closing off anything that came after TD Washington's 1, 2, 3, 4 pass. Anything before there was a possible winner. Anything after gets cut off, which is a real shame because there's somebody who would have won. You know what? The winner that I had picked. Yeah, I'm going to go with that, Andrew. The winner that I had picked was a regular winner, so we're going to change that up here. All right, winning number that our random number generator selected. Boy, TD Washington, you were stunningly close, but a little over, was 6100, 6100. Andrew and I both show the closest guesser is Chris Doherty with his guess of 5469. Congratulations, Chris Doherty. Andrew is about to post instructions. I think you might have won months before, so you should be generally familiar with the process, but we're going to post it up there again. I'll post it up on the screen. You're going to send me an email, I certainly hope, with 4 pieces of information in the body of the email. That part's really critical, and it's one of the 2 things that people mess up the most. Nobody messes up on my show. They always mess up on Mike's because they didn't get the detail. But send me an email to daver@totalsem.com, and in the body of the email, give your YouTube name, Chris Doherty, your real name, if it's the same or different, need it posted, the email address that you want me to send or want us to send your access information to, got to be in the body of the email. I'm not pulling it off the header because I can't. And which practice test would you like? Give me by exam number, right? So if it's CompT exam, it's A+, 220-1001, 220-1002. By the way, that's the only one that if you request one, you will automatically get the other. But don't say something like Network Plus, because that could be N10007 or N10008. And those don't come together. You get the idea. And if it's, look through everything in our litany at the Total Sem site to see what practice tests we have. And please get that to me within an hour or so after the show. I'd like to send that to the powerful people. All right. Congratulations, Chris Doherty. Anything going on I need to know? Okay. Oh, thank you. All right, checking messages, checking posts, checking my notes here. Oh, you never won. Okay, very good, Chris. Congratulations. Even more so. I'm very pleased. It's nice when we get a new face in there. I think I need to pass. Recently bought all the practice tests from you guys. You know what? Here's what you do. You send me the email that says Chris Doherty in there, and then give me the 3 facts from your brother, your sister, your dad, your close friend. Give me their email address, because we don't keep your YouTube name. I just use that to verify who you are. But I need your an email address. I need a real name. Lots of people have different real names than their YouTube name, even though it sounds like a real name. I got Fred Smith, who comes up as Muhammad al-Bashir. It happens that way. And the test that your buddy or dad or mom or whatever wants, and they will suddenly receive a lovely gift, 90 days free access. So even if you got them all, you either have another one unusual or find a way to give it to a friend. Hey, Mars Monster, welcome back, amigo. You haven't missed the project. I'm going to start that here in just a moment or 2. And it looks like we're going to start the project a couple of minutes early. because we just ain't got a big load of people. It's really funny how this works out. Some days we'll get 70 people watching live, and by the end of the week, the view count is up in the 200 to 250 zone. And then some days we get 10 people that watch the show live, and at the end of the week it's in the 200 to 250 zone. So there's no correlation to how many people watch live compared to how many people ultimately watch it. If you're not watching this live, I encourage you to come watch us live so you can participate in the contest. But if not, and by the way, if you're watching this, you just got in and this is brand spanking new to you. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars. We get together every Friday at 2:00 Central Time and talk about CompTIA certifications and Raspberry Pis and how the two can be used together to study, and also anything else technical that you want to talk about. Lots of fun here. All right, you're setting up Pi-hole this weekend on a Pi. Very nice. Highlander Ultra. I like things with Ultra. When I was a kid, one of my favorite shows was Ultraman. And you can't find the old late 60s, early 70s Ultraman. There's been like 7 generations of Ultraman. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. But there have been 7 generations of it. And, I'm old and I'm nostalgic. I'm only interested in seeing the old ones. I would watch that right before or after. It was an after school thing. Johnny Sacco, which you can find. I love to this day. I can watch Johnny Sacco episodes, but looking for you. Yeah, there we go. Highlander Ultra likes Ultraman. Way to go. Okay, I missed something. I slid by here. Highlander, is there a person or class or course that one can take to get CompTIA certifications? I'm not a fan of standardized testing. No. Sorry, flat out, simple. CompTIA contracts out the testing, and the only way to achieve certification of CompTIA is to take a CompTIA or CompTIA exams. There's 2 in the case of A+. As far as I know, all the other ones are just single exams, and you must take them through Pearson VUE. You're either going to have to go attend in person at a Pearson VUE testing center, or in many parts of the world, you can do at-home testing online. Pretty stringent rules about what they can see on camera. If I cannot take the test, you look at this and Dave, your set is so neat, you should be able to test. If I pan the camera down on my desk, it looks like a hoarder desk these days. I've just not cleaned up lately, and it is a nightmare. And same thing for panning around. You got to pan around the room and prove that there's no cameras and there's no nothing. They expect the place to be fairly immaculate. Hey, by the way, watch this. If you're taking home exams, there are different proctors who will watch you while you exam, and some of them hold much stricter to the rules than others. And I see reports of these all the time, on the CompTIA subreddit. One popped up this week. They canceled his test in the middle of the test because, according to his report, it's one-sided, right? He looked up and away, ostensibly to think, in his words, and he got a message that says, "Don't look away from your screen." Oh, sorry. And then he did it again. And I don't remember if they let him get away from it the second time, it came with a threat or whatever, but whatever, either that second time or the third time he did it, they invalidated his test. They canceled him out. So, you got to follow the rules with these guys. It's tight, it's hairy, it's fun. That's one of the reasons the only time you hear problems with people testing on site is if their exam gets canceled just before they get there. And that's actually not as common as home-based testing problem reports, but I have seen that report a half a dozen times in the last month. Now, that's on a worldwide basis. And I see 10 times that problems with at-home testing. And if you're trying to at-home test and you try it with a Macintosh, stop now, okay? You're going to have problems 97% of the time. So don't use a PC, don't use Parallels and try and run Windows in Mac. People just have problems with those, and they often can't complete the test, and they get freezes and lockups. But I like going to Pearson VUE testing centers because if they don't cancel my exam, and if they cancel it, it's always short notice, like while you're driving there. They know if you're looking up over here and you're thinking, there's nothing to look at. Their system, it's their testing center. It's clean, it's clear. So, if you like to move your lips and read the questions, you can't do that when you're being proctored. They will kill you. They will cancel you. But if you're doing this in class, why would they do that? You ask. I know you're doing that because they think people are smart and clever and have managed to sneak a camera somewhere, and then they can watch themselves reading their lips later after the show and start saving and recreating questions and doing brain dumps and stuff like that. So that's the whole nature of this proctoring system, is they are trying to protect the integrity of the questions. All right. I ranted long enough. Now I can get into the top of the second hour and start the project. Let's see what questions popped up there. Spectre Man. I never heard of Spectre Man. Notes right over here under Chris Doherty's winner here. SPECTREMAN. Okay, I will look at that. Question, says Chris Doherty at 256. I started taking A+ 1001 and 1002 and Network Plus. Started out around 78, 83 range. We will take that to mean that's the passing percentage that he's getting on practice tests. Yeah. Should I wait till I'm in the 90s to take the final certification? Yes. Yes. Why would you say pretty good, but right on the edge of passing, unless you are being forced to take the test in the morning? Keep taking them. Get in those high 80s and get in those 90s, especially with our practice tests, because it is not a bad thing to memorize our practice tests. Many of them are so good to know that you might read a test question on the exam and say, wow, I understand that question. I know exactly the kind of thing to look for. We don't recreate questions. We don't recreate answers. That would be very contrary to the NDA. But we are clever writers of questions and smart people. When I do FBI classes or DEA classes, these are our type A personalities. We get together for 10 hours a day in class, and then they get together for study sessions at night for 2 or 3 hours, and I give them homework every night. Here's the test question area that I want you to do, and okay, do them all today. That might be on the first night of a 10-day class. I want you to do 50 questions. The next night, I want you to do the same 50 questions plus these 50. And the next night, do the same ones you did 100 questions for the last 2 nights and another 50. So by the time they get into day 10, they've done those first 50 500 times. They have them memorized. They don't have to read the question. They see the first word. They know the rest of the question. They know the answer. That's okay. I have a 95% first time pass rate of all of my federal law enforcement employee students using that technique and what I've taught them and what they read and what they study. Take advantage of that, okay? The practice tests are useful and important. Yes, 78. If you said I'm getting 78, I haven't broke 78, I'd say don't even think about testing. Don't even think about it until you're always above 85. But I'd much rather see you in the 85 to 95 zone for high confidence. Lots of Ultraman 60s era coming out on Blu-ray. I don't have a Blu-ray player anymore. It's 2023. Everything is online. I think we have one, but I haven't fired it up in a couple of years. Used to watch Ultra 7, okay, and Gridman. There's one I don't know. Kind of an age thing probably. Let's take a check on Gridman. As for me, Captain Planet. You don't only have to study, but you can clean house too if you take the home exam. A little motivation, huh? My motivation is my wife. I will not feed you tonight if you don't clean up this desk. Mars Monster. It's tight, it's hairy, it's fun. Proctors, people have never had any power in life. We have a former proctor on here who is a wonderful person. So, it's everybody's different. Mohammed El Obayed at 3 o'clock says, actually happened to me. The app crashed on my Mac. Okay. I see that report so regularly. I'm sorry to hear that, Mohammed. I imagine they rescheduled you and gave you a free retake. And they just, in my opinion, they should put the word out that says, you can't do this on a Mac because there are so many problems. Let's just head this off at the pass. Alex is here. I missed. Oh, yeah, there she is. Hey, Alex. I had such a nice time chatting with you and Mike and whoever else was in on that the other day. It was about the last 2 hours of my trip going into Lubbock, Texas, up in the northwest corner area. We were doing music, and Alex immediately retracts her next message before I get a chance to read it. Proctor is constantly threatened by corporate if they deviate from the rules. Absolutely true, says an expert. We know you have expertise in this area. I thought Total Seminars video. Don't forget about it. I'm missing the context there, but it's a conversation between you and Andre, so cool. Download a Blu-ray player. Yeah, there we go. I got somebody buy in on Captain Planet. It made me proud to have Ultra in my username. Outstanding. Ultra is just awesome. That and Michelob Ultra Light. Yeah, the musical challenge was just a ton of fun. Can't believe you missed Edge of 17, by the way. Hey, everybody listening, who sang Edge of 17? Post it up there. Molotov 247, 24/7. That'd be cool. Have enough Molotov cocktails to just chuck them 24/7. Anyways, how do I nail my help desk interview at my university? I'm a computer science student. I'm going to believe that at a university, if you're talking about an internship, you're working for the university while you're a student, it's going to be a lot easier to do that than getting that first corporate job. They know what you know that you know. So how do you nail it? They don't expect you to come in with a ton of experience. You are a college student. You haven't worked a help desk for 5 years. So you nail it by going in and telling them and showing them in the interview a couple things. Number one, don't be weird. Okay. Dress normally, wear deodorant, comb your hair, speak like you're having a normal conversation. Do not drop into your British accent using medieval jargon. Okay, don't expound on things that they aren't interested in. Oh yeah, I fixed computers. By the way, do you want to know the history of computers? The first one was invented by Babbage and the second one was invented by Simmel. Okay, answer what they want to know to the best of your ability. Keep focused. Okay, and then number two, tell them what you know. Tell them what you don't know. Do not be afraid to say, I don't know, but I look forward to learning it. I can learn that before the position starts. I can learn that on the job with you. That's what you're going to nail this. And that's great. You get that college intern job, you walk out of there in your year or two or however long you hold that job for. And now you've got the golden ticket on your CV, on your resume. You have actual real world experience in whatever that internship is, support, help desk, installation, whatever it may be. That's how you nail it. Mohammed, I had to contact support, and yes, they gave me a voucher and rescheduled. There is another problem. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I know I told Mike about this to share with you, and I didn't hear him share it on that show. Pearson VUE and CompTIA have merged some of their computer operations to single sign-on. Now, when you go to register for an exam, you no longer go to the Pearson VUE site and register. You go to CompTIA site, and you'll use the accounts that you've always used with CompTIA and or Pearson VUE. People are having terrible times getting successfully logged into those environments, getting their registrations to work. I'm going to register tomorrow. Good luck. It's probably not going to work for a week, and you're going to have to send a dozen tickets. I still haven't done it. It's been 24 hours since I submitted a ticket. You haven't even responded to me. So if you're in one of those situations, you're having trouble getting registered, getting your certifications merged or your exams merged, don't wait for them and hope they'll get around to it. They will, but it could be months. Send them a ticket every day. Send them 2 or 3 tickets a day. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's the reports that I am reading. Thank you, Tullowitz, Stevie Nicks. Captain Planet has come up 3 times this week between work and this stream. I wonder why. That's funny how these things kind of come up in threes. Delaware, where have you been all this time? And I've been here. See the earlier for highlights and lowlights. My pleasure. All right, we are caught up on questions. Let's peel that back and let's talk about today's project. Oh, I got some back channel things here. Yeah, okay, we went with that. That was cool. Shrink this. Is that saved? Yes. Oh, stop it. Hang on, I got my system cleaned up here to do its thing. What the heck is that? Oh, hey, Andrew, would you send a message to Michael and or Shannon? Let them know I'm doing show and I will look at their stuff after the show. Thank you, buddy. All right, now I got what I need. Man, this is exciting. We'll talk about cool stuff today. So this week's project, we're going to install Android on Raspberry Pi 4. I don't have a tutorial for this. This is all from me because it's easy. You know, once you do this stuff for a while, you can do this. And I think if I pointed most of you in the initial direction, here's where to download the image from, you'd have figured it all out without this. So as I said, our motivation today is because knowledge of certain Android functions is necessary for the 10OX series of 8 Plus and for the 11OX. So if you don't have an Android device, you could go to a boot sale or a flea market or a thrift store or something like that, buy a cheap Android tablet. You might have to go out and buy a phone, right? Heck no, you got a Raspberry Pi. Just install this. Everything that you need to know that's in the objectives on 10OX and 11OX is well covered in here. And there's more and more. Every time I play with this, I find more. It's wow, cool stuff. So let's think about this for just a second. Let's kind of dive into it. The #1 installed operating system in the world by installation count is Linux. What? Nah, it's Windows, followed by Mac OS, followed by Linux. Sure, if you are thinking totally PCs, but what's this? We call it a phone. This puppy's a computer. And so if you take all the Android phones out there, which outnumber iPhones on the order of 3-to-1, 4-to-1, maybe a little more than that, they're all running Android, and Android is a Linux distro. So your non-technical grandparent with their Android phone, they've been running Linux. They're proficient Linux users. It's just got a really nice, cool, fancy GUI. By the way, Mac runs Unix, real pre-Linux. It's just got a really cool, fancy, super slick graphical user interface. So then comes the next trick. Android is written and made primarily to run on the kinds of CPUs that you find in phones and tablets. What are those CPUs that you find on phones and tablets, Dave? They are ARM. Yeah, there's a few exceptions, but they're ARM. Maybe they're made by Broadcom. Maybe they're made by Snapdragon. It's a Snapdragon model, but it's an ARM chip. And so we're halfway there. We got a Linux operating system that's already written to work with the same kind of CPU, ARM, that's in a Raspberry Pi. So there have been plenty of folks who have developed versions of Linux that will run on Ras Pi. Now, since I've been playing Ras Pi, give or take 10 years now, I've played with just about every operating system that came out for it. ARMBN, certainly Raspbian, and Ubuntu's out for it, and Kali Linux is out for it, and obviously Raspberry Pi OS. I played with all of them. I have never played with Android on there. I've seen them come and I've seen them go, and every read up that I've ever done on them says, I don't think this is what I want to present to you guys. But I ran into this one the other day and said, wow, great information, great foundation. It's very believable in its stability. It's not perfect, but it's good enough that I wanted to try it. And once I tried it and found how easy and how intact it is and how very stable, yeah, we got to do this. And especially because it was really easy. All right. Did it. That was a clever line. So why do I want to run Android on a Raspberry Pi? Well, we already said the big one. It's a platform to practice the Android skills that we need to know for A+ Core 1 and Core 2, especially if you don't already have one. Next, there are millions of apps for Android, from web servers to games and everything in between. So yeah, there's zillions of apps for Raspberry Pi OS and Ubuntu, but here's another arena that we could do some pretty doggone cool apps in. I found an app today that I tested on one of these. I installed it on here, and it's used to talk to a Raspberry Pi. So it's a Raspberry Pi using to control other Raspberry Pis in the same way that I might install that same app on my phone here. I can install it on a Raspberry Pi. So cool stuff. It takes advantage, this version, excuse me, which is called Legacy, Linear OS. Let's try again here. Lineage OS. It has been written to support the specific hardware that you find in a Raspberry Pi that you don't find in tablets and phones, like SATA connectors, like USB connectors, like GPIO pins, the Bluetooth interface, the wired Ethernet interface, as well as Wi-Fi. So, wow. Okay, we got this really awesome operating system that works with most of the things. One of the things that it doesn't work with, this particular version, in a stable fashion, is the native onboard camera interface, but it does work with USB cameras. This will run only on Raspberry Pi 4s with 2 gigs or more of RAM. And that gives you 3 models. You can do the compute module, the CM4. You can do the one that's built into the keyboard thing, the Pi 400, and a regular Pi 4B with 2 gigs or more of RAM. All right. So the version we're installing today, it's not the only game in town. There's other ones out there, but this is the best one that I've seen so far, good enough that I was willing to present to you. It is not a Raspberry Pi organization substanted and supported version. This is from a particular author, so it's unofficial. If you want support from me, you got to go to the author. You won't find anything. You may be able to post messages on Raspberry Pi forum about it. Hey, has anybody else played with this? Here's an issue that I got. Your initial setup, you're going to need, you can't do it headlessly. You're going to need a mouse and a keyboard and a monitor. However, I discovered after I wrote all my notes that they got a VNC server in there that works with the real VNC client that we use with normal Raspberry Pis. So sweet. So required hardware and software. You need a Raspberry Pi 4 with 2 gigs of RAM. You need a micro SD card, 16 gigs or larger. You need the usual accessories, a power supply, an enclosure, and at least to get yourself started, a mouse, keyboard, and monitor. You're going to need a micro SD adapter burner, unless there's one already built into the computer that you're going to burn the image on. You're going to have to download the image file that we're going to download. I'll share where that is. And you need to be able to burn that downloaded file onto your micro SD card. And for that, we're using Balena Etcher. So I'll give you the links for everything that you need to know as we go along here. So this note that I wrote, I'm going to read it to you, but it's changed. It says I can only describe it to you. We're going to talk through the install because the VNC server isn't available until after the installation. So I'm just going to have to talk you through it. Wait a minute. That was when I said, you know what, I'm going to blow this away and do a fresh installation, and I'll take pictures, stills, and share those with you on each screen so I can show you the install step by step. Andrew, would you throw the links up to Balena Etcher and the download link? Andrew is posting 2 links where you can get the Etcher if you don't already have it. It's a Windows program. And the other one is a zip file that holds the image file that we're going to be using. Let me show that to you on my handy dandy little thing here. Share the file. Now we're not sharing files, we're doing this. I don't have permission to distribute those files, or I would have included them in my download notes. So to get the Balena Etcher file, that's the thing that's going to write the image file onto your micro SD. You go to https://balena.io/etcher. The download page is right there, and you can download it for Windows or Mac or another Raspberry Pi if you want. And then to go get the image that you need, you're going to go to this long, hairy thing. If you're watching this in real time, just pause this or come back and visit it later, or check out the chat feed right about now. We're about 20 minutes after the hour, the second hour, and Andrew will have this link in the chat feed. You can just click on it, and that'll take you to a page that has a bunch of download links. You pick the one you want, and then it'll take you to a page that has download mirror sites. You pick the mirror that you want. It's a website that has copies of this stuff. You want the one that's geographically closest to you. All right. And with that, then we can start Le Projet. So you go to that site, you click the download link, you select your download mirror. So there were 3 in Virginia, VA1, VA2, VA3. I just picked 2 at random. I started at 7 a.m. this morning, and after the hops and kicks and starts, took 23 minutes for it was a zip file to download. Once the zip file downloads, we're talking Windows, so you can right click and extract all. There's only one file in there, and that's an image file. It's called lineage-19.1- a whole bunch of numbers. It looks like a date code 2022-05-11. So it's 2 days old. Unofficial -constacang-rpi4.img. Whatever. Extract that file. And now set up your micro SD card. So again, if you've got a native slot in your computer, plug a micro SD card in there. It can be blank, can already have something on it. The image program will overwrite anything that's on there. So I would put it in here. I would plug the USB in, make sure it gets registered and recognized. Now you run the Balena Etcher program. Balena. Got too much Star Trek on my head. And then there's 3 boxes that you have to fill in. 1, select the image file. 2, select your target. Right? If micro SD is the only USB removable you have, that'll be the only one to pick from. I've got 2 or 3 flash drives plugged into the computer that I was using, so I had to pick the right one without blasting away. And then the 3rd one, click the right button and wait it out. 2.5 minutes for mine to write the image. Now, when you download that original zip file, it's 2.3 gigs or whatever it is. No, it's not. How about 687 megabytes? But when you extract it, it's 7.3 gigs. That's some kind of compression, huh? It's like 10-to-1, 9-to-1. All right. When it gets done, it's a little different than the Raspberry Pi image burner. It doesn't say, hey, you're done. Go ahead and click to finish. It says it's done. And the only thing it does is sits there with another message that says, do you want to flash or burn another one? And there's no yes or no option there. You click it if you want to flash up another one. But once it gets to that screen, you're okay to disconnect, pull the micro SD card out, pop it into your Raspberry Pi, which is powered off right now, and then power it on. So let me show you all the screens that are going to happen at that power on. The first screen doesn't happen for between 30 seconds and a minute. It's a little bit scary because the green LED flashes so infrequently and so quickly, it looks solid. And the general rule on Raspberry Pi is if the green LED stays solid after the first 4 seconds, it's hung. But I was watching it and I got these occasional microsecond flashes. I said, well, that doesn't happen when it's hung. So I'm just going to be patient. Sometime 45 seconds or so after the first LED turned on, I started to see screen activity. So let me get that up and share that with you. There it is. Do that, do the screen share thing here. Click on this. Click on this and share it. Okay, so this is the first thing that you're going to see on the screen. This circle goes back and forth. It moves from the right side to the left side and disappears. Actually, the very first thing you're going to see is just kind of an upside down smile. And after a few moments, then you're going to see this circle create, spin across, disappear, wait a second, and it happens again. And you'll see that run for a minute or two or three, something like that. I didn't time it. And when it gets done doing its thing, it takes you to this page. Welcome to Lineage OS. And you have two things that you can select here. The accessibility settings, I'll take you to that screen in a second, or this will turn out to be the next. So let's go into accessibility settings. You can control your font size. You can control your screen resolution and the size of images and things like that. It's kind of like the scaling button in Windows. You can set up magnifiers. When you get done with this, you click each of these, make your settings here, and you can't see it on here. I didn't get the picture down far enough, but there is a little arrow that points to the left here. That's your go back button. Takes you back to the previous menu. Hey, there it is with a fresh picture. Okay, so I've made, and by the way, if you don't set your accessibility settings right now, or you don't like them, you can always change them later. So the next thing to do is to click this, to me, it looks like a folder tab. And that's the only one of these installation menus that has you, oh, I see what it is. I know what's going on there. They've mangled this screen a little bit. This is an oval, and it has the word next in it because the subsequent screens do that. Just figured that out. So the next thing you got to do is agree to the EULA. It basically says no commercial ops with this build. Okay, so you click accept, takes you to the next screen, pick your language of choice. This was the default. I think this is the default for everything. I don't think, because there's nothing in anything that I did where it would have detected a language and came up with something different than that. But you would click on that and go pick your favorite language. Once you picked it, you get back to this screen and there's our next oval. You zoom this. Yeah, I can do that. Next page is pick your date, pick your time, and select your time zone. And this was the default time zone. So I clicked on midway here. You can see there's a pull down arrow here as well. Scrolled down and found myself Central Daylight Time. Find your own time zone. And once you click it, this menu will contract and bring you back to this screen. So you don't have to say done or anything like that. So again, you click the next button. And then your choice on this, do you want to, remember, this is a Google product. Android comes from Google. They collect information. If you're comfortable with what they collect, then you leave this checked. If you're not comfortable with it, then you uncheck this before you do next. The same thing on the next page. This is telemetry. Do you want me to contact Google with issues about app performance and whatever? So check it or don't check it. The first time I did the install, I left these both unchecked. The second time, figuring that I'm going to destroy this thing anyways after today, you can always reinstall it in a couple of minutes. So I left them checked. Next. Now, how do you want to navigate? And this has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to use a mouse or whatever. It's how the screen presents itself. So gesture navigation has nothing to click on the bottom. It's just, you got to have a camera and you got to move your hands where you want them moved. 2-button navigation has 2 buttons at the bottom of this thing, and 3-button gives you 3 buttons. So I selected 3. I'll show it to you when we get live. And now you can set up a pin or a pattern or a password. I skipped in this instance. If you say next, then it'll take you to, do you want to do a PIN or a pattern or a password? If you have Lineage OS installed someplace else and do data backups, you can recover from them to here. I didn't, so I skipped. And now you've made all of your choices. When we hit the start button here, they're going to take effect, and we're going to find ourselves in the Lineage OS. Bam. And that's what that initial screen looks like. So now what I'm going to do is, I have a bunch of stills, but I went exploring in here and I found the settings page. And again, I found a VNC server. So I'm going to share that with you. Let's close that all together. Let me check messages and see if anybody posted something like, I can't see anything you're doing. Okay, I don't see that. Now, you don't need a Raspberry. You can use mouse and keyboard. All right, I'm not going to read those questions yet. I'm going to go straight into la demo. So for that, I'm using the real VNC client. When I went and looked at this VNC server enabler, I'll show you where that is. It said it uses port 5900. Well, I know that the real VNC client that we use with Raspberry Pi OS and the built-in VNC server there, they are also 5900. So I took a whack at it, just put in the IP address, and wango tango, came right up. Now it's a little bit fiddly, and I'll show you that in a moment. Yeah, I want to continue. Get a warning about not being encrypted. All right, let me share this. And this is going to look really bad to you. It looks really bad to me. That's okay. I think I can fix it because I've done it many times. So this thing looks like it's a high resolution screen that's been moved to low resolution. So what I wound up doing is just clicking up here and dragging a little bit. And it cleaned right up. I hope that's clean for you. So here's the basics. Here on the desktop, let's use the real mouse. There we go. Get over there. So on the top bar, we've got time, we've got Wi-Fi settings, and A is probably caps lock. Over on the right-hand side, this leads to a settings menu and battery power. Here's the 3 buttons that came from 3-button select. This button takes you back out of an application or back to a previous screen. I haven't figured out what this one does yet. If I click it, sometimes I get a little hop of these 2 icons. Now I'm not getting anything at all. And this is a settings button. If you click it once, you get into a very basic settings screen or a selector for all of your previous ones. Notice down here, we can set up a screenshot and we can set up split screens. It's kind of cool. If you click this again, I'm not getting into that. If you click it again, this is one of 5 ways that you can get into, stop it, double click. There we go, rapid double click. This gets you into the full setup, and I'm gonna show you a couple different places that you can do that. So let's back out of there, and we're back to the desktop. Now I'm going to use my mouse scroller and go backward one thing, and that takes me to split screen page 2. And you can see there's 3 applications on here. The gallery for picture viewing, there's music player, and then this is the same settings that I got when I did a rapid double click on the square here. Down here, these are anchored applications. This is, well, let's go back to the other page here. Single click. Remember, this is Android. It's expecting finger operations. So sometimes you tap and hold. I'll show you that in a second. So I'll do a single click on that just as if I tapped it. And now we're in a browser. And one of the things I tried earlier here is to go to, was it Play Store? Or is it just Play? I went there earlier, Play. There it is, play.google.com. And it's the same Google Play Store. It knows what kind of system we're running. It'll give you apps that will work on it for the most part. I haven't explored all of them by any stretch, but cool bananas, huh? This is a camera app, but again, it doesn't work with the native camera app. It works with a USB camera. Now, if we go up here to this top bar and I click in it, now I'm in a basic setup area. I can configure Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and hotspots, turn on or off locations, set up airplane mode, do screen recording setups. I don't remember what that does. Oh, this is actually how you change the values of those things. This manage is another way to get to the primary settings. Oh, we got some more stuff down here. The DNDs, alarms. So this is a minimal set of settings, but it's bigger than what you get here. There's another settings gear. And there's another settings gear. We got power off and reboot here. And if you want to set up your Google account in here, you could add a user, add a guest, because this is cool. We can do multi-users in here. You can escape out of this. You can done out of this. You could have back arrowed out of it. Slick. Let's go into settings. All the detailed settings. You'll recognize a lot of these if you're an Android user. You click over here and then more detailed settings are available over here. So I haven't set up Bluetooth, haven't done anything with apps. Display, is that where I found the VNC? No, block display, fonts, icon shape, screensaver, which by default is off. All kinds of goody security pieces. I should have bothered to remember where VNC was. But you can hunt it. It's pretty easy menu stuff. Passwords and account system. I'm almost certain it was in system. Set up multiple users, gestures, status bar, system profiles. It's buried in here somewhere. Oh, Raspberry Pi settings. How's them apples? I remember now. Here's where we set our display resolution, force resolution, touch screen, power, volume, mouse, CPU power. You can overclock in here, and there's VNC. You can even set up SSH in here. So my VNC server is turned on here, and now I just use the regular real VNC client. And man, so that's Android running on a Raspberry Pi. And if that's not the coolest thing that you've run into this week, then something is seriously on. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted you to see in there. Let's double click this. Let's go into apps. There are 17 apps that I saw installed in here. You can only see 4 or 5 of them on the main screen. And I don't remember where it is, but there's a lot more apps in here, and there are different ways to get to them. So experiment with that at your convenience. By the way, here's another way to back out that's available in many of the menus. All right, I'm done sharing. Can't use that mouse, got to use this one for this. And then we close VNC. So this whole process to actually do it, once you get the software and your hardware all gathered, 20, 25 minutes to download, unless you get a faster one than I do, and 5 minutes to extract and burn it, and another few minutes while you explore the setup menus, 20, 30 minutes total time, and less so after you've got all of your ducks in a row. Okay, I'm done with you. I can close you. I'll need you shortly. So how we doing here? It's 39. We got 20 minutes left. Let's see what kind of questions have popped up. I'll see what kind of notes I have to talk about. What did I leave off? Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac. That's a, okay. Thank you, Andrew. You're all cool. Have a good weekend, buddy. And thanks for all your support and great work. Andrew is leaving. Send him insults. No. All right, reading messages. Alex, I've been here. We did that one. Okay, Molotov was the last one I think I read. More like no lights in our cases. Will you need a touchscreen? No. Yeah, it is interesting. TD Washington, Fire OS is built on Android. So Fire tablets, that's exactly right. I got a Fire tablet and Kindles, you bet. What do you think of the Rock 5 Model B compared to the Raspberry Pi? The same thing I think of all of the competitive products. Many times they're fine products, but they don't have the support base. There's not nearly as many apps that will run on it. There's not nearly as many operating systems. For the most part, bang for buck, I usually find the competitive products to be a little more expensive than Raspberry retail prices than real Raspberry Pis. So I've experimented with a few of them, including the Rocks. They're okay. My big experimental one is Orange Pis. I kind of like them. They have a lot of really cool hardware. They try to make themselves more appealing hardware wise by being faster and having more interfaces than Raspberry Pis, but they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the operating system support. They don't have nearly as many developers, both internal and external. So I stick with Raspberry Pi for the most part. If somebody gives me something or I find one for a good deal, I'll get it and play with it, but Raspberry Pi works. Okay, Andrew posted the links we needed at 319, the Balena Etcher link and the download link for the zip file. Will PyImager work? I don't know. I have found that using PyImager for non-Pi images has caused me trouble in the past. I had a lot of trouble with Volumio before I switched to Balena. So I'm sticking with that. Yes, Tad Nugent rocks too. We're going to do Stranglehold. Absolutely my favorite tune from him. Wango Tango. I know I've been doing that for about a week. I used to do that all the time. It'll fade. Apologies for it. I'll be going to bed so late today. It's my fault because you're going to play Raspberry Pi. Me too, man. Chris Kent, I have a question. Would this principle work for installing Lineage on a phone? I posted today on the back channel in the company some communications, and Mike read that I was going to put Lineage on Raspberry Pi, and he immediately said, that's what I run on one of my phones. Can I see that message over here? I'll bet I can. Did he say which phone? Okay, I run Lineage on my spare phone. Mike has so many phones. Calling it a spare seems hopelessly unfair. But yeah, principle would be the same. Now of course, the way you install ROMs, they're called on Android phones, is a little different process than what we did here. But the principle, yeah, you can replace the onboard firmware with Lineage firmware. And it's very stable firmware on phones because it's a much more known quantity. We don't have to fiddle with USBs and a proprietary, semi-proprietary camera port, stuff like that. Yep, Andrew Hutz has left us. All right, well, that kind of winds things up. If you have any more questions, post them now. I'm going to go and bring up my shutdown notes. We'll talk about shutting down, be about 15 minutes early or so. It's a good thing on a Friday. Let me see if there's any notes that I missed here. I think there was one or two things. I did all that from the top of my head. Select the screen and passwords and your settings, and then you click start. So we don't need this now, but all the still shots that I had plus more are in the downloadable thing. My downloadable archive documents at pirsquare, pirsquare.zapto.org, Z-A-P-T-O. You don't need them because you've seen them here live, but they're there, and make your own, because you can do that with VNC. And of course, you can always do it with your own real honest to goodness live mouse, keyboard, and monitor. Okay, I went to 5900. We did a little tour. Raspberry native. And from reading his site over there, Raspberry cameras aren't supported yet. So I guess they're going to do that. Talk about how to use the back arrow page on the home page. Oh yeah. Oh, here's one of the things I didn't show you, and I want to show you this. So let me reshare this for just a moment. You fool. Come here, you. VNC. So I mentioned, nice guy that I am, that this is designed for an Android type interface. I know you can't see it yet. I'm doing something here. Trying to get that nice cleanup view. And so when you're working in Android, you can tap, you can double tack, and of course there's multi-touch. That does you no good if you're using a mouse, of course. Share screen. But one of the things you can do on Android is in all kinds of different places, you can press and hold with your finger, right? Well, the same thing happens here. If I just do a single click right here in the middle of the screen, nothing happens. If I click over here, and this is interesting, there's kind of a row here. If I click in there, I get to the time management screen. That was just a single click. But how about something like this? How about I just pick a place on my desktop and I click and hold? Hey, a whole new set of menus comes up. We can put widgets on here. You can change your wallpaper. You can change your themes, light to dark. I haven't even gone into this home settings one. See what that does for us. Okay, well, these are the home things. So what you get down here. So click and hold, more things to experiment with. This just interestinger and interestinger, yeah? Close that, stand by. Man, what a fun thing. Play with this. There is one thing that I've noticed I haven't figured out yet. I used a 32 gig card. And when I went and looked at space usage statistics in the Android thing, it's not using the whole 32 gigs. In fact, it looks like it's using about 8. So we got to figure out how to extend the partition. And I'm sure it's documented out there. Again, I just started this at 7 o'clock this morning and haven't had much time to play and experiment in depth with it. Remember also, this thing understands the native hardware in the Raspberry Pi, the GPIO ports, the USB ports, and there's a lot more development continuing on. So this is fun. This is easy. It's quick. There's tons of new and fertile ground with which to experience and experiment. And here endeth the lesson. Let me see if there's any final questions, and then we'll close this puppy down for the weekend. I'll keep pirsquare.zapto.org up for the weekend. And again, if you need it some other time, just send me a message when you need it up and it'll be up for you, as long as I'm not traveling to or from Lubbock, let's say. And I don't have to go back to Lubbock to take him back for his senior year. I'm giving him a car. I know I'm not like one of those dads who's, here's a car for starting your freshman year and here's an apartment. That kept him in a dorm for a couple of years and made him use campus transport, because that's the way I had to do it. But in my final year, I got an apartment and I got a car, and so I'm keeping the tradition alive. Mike is the Imelda Marcos of phones. That's good. And yeah. Well, good, Chris. I'm glad you enjoyed that. All right, let's close this thing down then. What do I need? I got to close this. Oh, wait, we got it way out of that stuff. Oh, yeah, next week's stuff too, right? So Mike did his feature show this week. He did reverse lookup zones in DNS. The Monday show is a normal Q&A question for the moment. Remember, July 11th, a little bit into the future, special guest Elaine Batzer. I'll push that a little more as we get on. So will he. 2 weeks after that, Drama's second anniversary. I don't know what we're doing, but I have every intention and hope and dream of making it fun. So we do this, then we do this. And As ever and always, it's Friday afternoon at 10 minutes till shutdown time. We'll shut down 10 minutes early. My thanks and gratitude to Mike Myers, to Andrew Hutz for his excellent service and back channel operations, everybody at Total who generously provides time and resources that we can get together and do this. My most heartfelt thanks, as always, goes to every one of you who comes here to participate. Without you, there is no show. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident pie specialist. Wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call or visit your parents. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And with that, good night. I will see you at the AMAs next week. And until then, I am out of here. This presentation was recorded before a live audience. No animals were hurt during the production of this program.